To open the 67th Ramon Magsaysay Awards presentation ceremonies, please welcome Philippine Ballet Theater.
Good day, everyone. Indian aerospace scientist and statesman APJ Abdul Kalam has said, and I quote, "We are all born with a divine fire in us. Our efforts should be to give wings to this fire and fill the world with a glow of its goodness," end quote. The bright future that is unfolding in Asia and spreading beyond could well be the collective fire of remarkable individuals, such as those we honor today. The Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation celebrates another year of exemplars who have ignited in themselves and their communities the highest ideals of transformative leadership. Trailblazers whose lives and achievements fan the flames that will not only change the world, but illuminate the path that will lead us to a better and brighter future.
The Pingtung Chuo in Taiwan, a fascinating phenomenon that has lived for centuries. This is the eternal flame occurring in nature. But in the tapestry of human experience, the eternal flame is sparked by greatness of spirit, a memorial that does not glorify deeds, but reminds humanity of its cost, such as the eternal flame of freedom in Corregidor Island in the Philippines, with the steadfast reminder inscribed on its base: "To live in freedom's light is the right of mankind." A reminder that does not aggrandize those whom we have lost, but humbles those who live on. Today, in a world engulfed by the darkness of war, terrorism, and greed, eternal flames continue to burn bright. The flame of peace in Hiroshima does not merely flicker, but blazes forth in all its brilliant might, to shine an enduring beacon, lighting the path for men, women, and organizations working towards a more peaceful and just world. This year, the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation raises the symbol of the eternal flame and all it represents as a shining remembrance of what all Ramon Magsaysay awardees stand for: transformative leadership and greatness of spirit in selfless service to the peoples of Asia. This is the eternal flame that burns within the hearts of all recipients of Asia's premier prize and highest honor, blazing on despite all odds and in the face of conflict and adversity, to forge a future built on hope, peace, and dignity for all. And like nature's eternal flame, it calls on each and every one of us to nourish it with our own individual sparks, stoking and fueling the eternal flame that is key to illuminating our future. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 67th Ramon Magsaysay Awards presentation ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the processional.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the entry of colors. The Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ang silanganan, halab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simuyat, sa langit bubagaw, madilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa'y may limag didilim. Lupa ng araw na walatid pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may marami ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you. You may now take your seats.
One spark to set the spirit ablaze, one flicker of light strong enough to illuminate our path, one flame to burn for eternity, a cry for peace, a prayer of hope, one dream in all our hearts, given the power of one voice.
All it takes is one.
the chairperson of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, Edgar O. Chua.
Fellow Board of Trustees of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, members of the Magsaysay family, our distinguished Ramon Magsaysay awardees, members of the Diplomatic Corps, esteemed guests, friends from across Asia. There are moments in our history when one person lights the path for countless others. For a certain generation of Filipinos, those who lived through the trials of rebuilding a nation from the ruins of the Second World War, that light was President Ramon Magsaysay, the 7th President of the Philippines, a leader who reminded us that the highest manifestation of power is selfless service to others. He listened to farmers, fishermen, laborers, the common man, and made them feel that their voices mattered. When his life was cut short, it was not only Filipinos who mourned, but the whole world, because they had witnessed a rare kind of leadership, one rooted in integrity, compassion, and dedication to the common good. Decades after his passing, his light has not faded, because his legacy was never confined to mere words nor monuments. It lives on in every leader guided by conscience, who choose people over power. These leaders, guided by the same spirit of service that defined President Magsaysay's legacy, ensure that his light endures. Tonight, we honor 3 extraordinary bearers of that torch, 2 individuals and 1 organization whose transformative leadership and selfless service illuminate our shared future. From India, Foundation to Educate Girls Globally, commonly known as Educate Girls. Thousands of its volunteers are led by a simple conviction that when a girl is educated, she changes not only her own destiny, but the destiny of everyone around her. When a girl is educated, she gains confidence, her family thrives, her community grows stronger. Educate Girls has proven that education is more than a right. It is a renewal of faith in what humanity can become. Like President Ramon Magsaysay, Educate Girls' committed volunteers and staff believe in the promise of every child. President Magsaysay and Educate Girls remind us that true progress begins when the least heard is given a voice and when each individual, regardless of gender, is empowered to lead the way. From the Maldives, Shaahina Ali. When Shaahina Ali looks at the Maldives, she does not just see islands and lagoons. She sees a multitude of stories woven into its shimmering waters of people, livelihoods, and a nation inextricably bound to the sea that sustains it. She remembers the Maldives of her childhood, sand so pure that when scooped into her hands, it felt like handfuls of sunlight, the ocean sparkling and endless, and trash almost unheard of. Today, that same sand is flecked with plastic, a stark reminder that the paradise she once held is now vulnerable. That realization awakened her purpose. By combining empathy, science, and an unshakable belief that sustainable development is the only way her homeland can endure, she is striving to make environmental stewardship a national duty. In her work, giving everything to preserve Maldives shores, seas, and people, we see the same devotion that President Ramon Magsaysay embodied, a commitment to uplift ordinary lives and build a future where people and nature can endure together. From the Philippines, Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva. More popularly known as Father Flavi. President Ramon Magsaysay once opened the doors of the presidential palace to the common people to show that the Malacanang, his home as president, was their home too, a place where their voices would be heard and their needs attended to. In the same spirit, to remind the forgotten, the grieving, and the underserved that a home is a place where no one is left behind and where broken lives can begin again, Father Flavi built the Arnold Janssen Kalinga Center. His faith has not been confined into the pulpit. Through Program Kalinga, he offers food, shelter, and the chance to reclaim one's dignity, to look in the mirror and see a person worthy of love and respect. Expanding his mission through Program Paghilom and his tireless ministry, he gives life to mercy, offering comfort to the bereaved and restoring dignity to those who have for so long remained unseen. He buries the nameless dead with honor and walks beside the living as they find the courage to rebuild. What endures are not the homes that President Magsaysay and Father Flavi help open, but the humanity they restore in every shared meal, every healed wound, and every heart that learns to hope again. The organization, Foundation to Educate Girls Globally from India, ocean conservationist Shaahina Ali from the Maldives, and humanitarian champion Father Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva from the Philippines are the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Awardees. These Ramon Magsaysay Awardees remind us of what President Ramon Magsaysay stood for, that leadership is not measured by power, but by purpose, that real change lies not in what we gain, but in what we give. They show us that every life, every living organism, no matter how humble, deserves dignity, love, and grace. President Ramon Magsaysay's light endures through those who serve quietly, lead selflessly, and hold the common good as their highest calling. It is this greatness of spirit that lives on in our Ramon Magsaysay awardees, past and present. They show us that this light does not fade, it spreads. When one person chooses to serve, then that light, passed from life to life, begins to change the world. This year's recipients of the award are both an inspiration and a challenge to us, to act where indifference prevails, to bring hope where it has faded, and to be that light in our own small corners of the world. On behalf of the peoples of Asia, we thank you, Foundation to Educate Girls Globally, Shaahina Ali, and Father Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva, because of your extraordinary work, a future where opportunities are equitable, a future where our environment is protected and cherished, a future where compassion restores dignity and hope is not only visible, but possible. And to everyone who joined us today here in Manila and all across Asia, thank you and good afternoon.
The members of the Board of Trustees will now read the citations for the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay awardees.
The 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Award, Foundation to Educate Girls Globally. India is one of the world's largest and most powerful countries in terms of its population, economy, and political importance.
Since its independence in the past century, it has achieved massive strides in its technological and economic growth. It is now the world's fourth largest economy on the strength of its exports, services sector, and domestic consumption. India's story shows both challenges and hope. The visible signs of India's new affluence belie many profound inequalities in its society, notably in incomes and educational opportunities. Despite the overall surge in growth, equality remains out of reach for many rural and tribal girls who have been the most neglected for lack of adequate education. In Rajasthan, India's largest state, girls have the highest illiteracy rate. This disparity has had a deep detrimental impact on Indian society, where illiterate girls are forced to marry early, have children, and work, while culturally privileged males go to school. Given their limited horizons, only a lifetime of penury and servitude awaits most of these women. In 2005, a young graduate of the London School of Economics, then working in San Francisco, United States of America, decided to return home to India to take on this challenge. After 2 years of studying the problem, Safina Hussain established the Foundation to Educate Girls Globally, FEGG, or Educate Girls, a non-profit organization dedicated to mobilizing community and government resources for girls' education in rural and educationally disadvantaged areas of India. Starting out in Rajasthan, Educate Girls identified the neediest communities in terms of girls' education, brought unschooled or out-of-school girls into the classroom, and worked to keep them there until they were able to acquire credentials for higher education and gainful employment. 2015 was a year of innovative collaborations. It launched the world's first Development Impact Bond, DIB, in education, aimed at tying financial aid to achieved outcomes. The results were dramatic. What began with 50 pilot village schools reached over 30,000 villages across India's most underserved regions, involving over 2 million girls with a retention rate of over 90%. Organized into Team Balika, Team for the Girl Child, local volunteers went door to door to identify out-of-school girls, address parents' concerns, and help with documentation. At the end of the DIB project in 2018, Educate Girls had surpassed its total learning targets by 160% and its total enrollment target by 116%. Beyond enrolling young girls, Educate Girls also launched Pragati, an open schooling program that allows young women aged 15 to 29 to complete their education and avail themselves of lifelong opportunities. Its initial cohort of 300 learners has grown to over 31,500 learners. Through its programs, it waged war on two fronts, the societal and systemic. Societal barriers kept girls at home, performing domestic chores as sisters, wives, and mothers. Systemic barriers limited the funds and resources required to improve girls' access to education. Hovering above these was the patriarchal mindset that needed to be challenged and proven wrong. Girls' education is the closest thing we have to a silver bullet to solve some of the world's most difficult problems, says Hussain. It is one of the best investments a country can make, impacting 9 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, including health, nutrition, and employment. Educate Girls remains committed to breaking the cycle of illiteracy and poverty for girls by scaling our programs, deepening government partnerships, and embedding community-led solutions. We strive to create a brighter, more equitable future, one girl at a time, she adds. Educate Girls entered communities where girls and women were expected to stay in the shadows and made them visible. By working within the system, they were able to change it, transforming schools into spaces of possibility. They challenged tradition, shifted mindsets, and showed that education is not a privilege, but a right that reshapes and rebuilds lives. It is enabling the women of India to take their rightful place in their own country and the world.
In electing the Foundation to Educate Girls Globally to receive the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Award, the Board of Trustees recognizes its commitment to addressing cultural stereotyping through the education of girls and young women, liberating them from the bondage of illiteracy and infusing them with skills, courage, and agency to achieve their full human potential.
The Foundation to Educate Girls Globally of India, represented by founder Safina Hussain, will now deliver their response.
Distinguished guests, the Board of Trustees of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, fellow awardees, friends from across Asia and beyond. I started Educate Girls in my home with a computer screen in front of me and my infant daughter on my lap. 18 years later, to be the first Indian organization to receive the Ramon Magsaysay Award is historic, humbling, and completely unbelievable. While I planted the seed for this organization, it has been nurtured over the last decades by many, many hands. This win is dedicated to the hard work of Educate Girls' current and past team members, and especially our field coordinators, who go door to door to find every single girl who is not going to school. They do it when it rains or even when the temperature hits 45 degrees centigrade. They climb mountains and cross rivers just to make sure that every single home is visited and no girl is left behind. It is because of their hard work that this mission has expanded from just a few villages when we began to more than 30,000 today. This win is dedicated to the 55,000 youth, our Team Balika volunteers, who have worked with us since inception to bring over 2 million girls back into school. They inspire us daily with their motto, Mera gaon, meri samasya aur main hi samadhan, which means my village, my problem, and I am the solution. This win is dedicated to over 3,000 preraks, our mentors who work with adolescent girls and young women who cannot go back to formal school. They help them learn in village-based learning camps, sometimes set up in their own homes, to ensure that girls can complete their secondary education. They go above and beyond the call of duty to support girls, sometimes babysitting their children or even grazing their goats so that girls don't miss their exams. Their hard work has ensured that over 30,000 girls are getting a second chance at education and a second chance at a future. This win is dedicated to parents, community members, teachers, headmasters, and countless others who stand up for our girls and provide day-to-day support for our programs and for our team members. This win is dedicated to our board, our supporters, our partners in the government and civil society. Thank you for placing your trust and faith in us. Your support provides us with the much-needed fuel to propel this mission forward. This win is for our girls. They inspire us daily with their courage, their grit, and their resilience. For girls who cook, clean, tend to cattle, look after siblings, and then study late into the night to build a brighter future for themselves, their families, and their country. This award sheds a light on their struggles and the numerous challenges that they face. Over the years, we have met hundreds of girls who were out of school called Anthem Bala. Anthem Bala means the last girl, and that's because they were named Anthem Bala because everyone hoped they would be the last girls to be born. So today, in honor of Anthem Bala, we at Educate Girls pledge to 10 by 10. We commit to reaching 10 million learners over the next 10 years, working to ensure that no girl is denied a quality education. Because when a girl is educated, magic happens. Education opens up opportunities. Opportunities give her choices, and choices give her a voice and agency to help her reach her full potential. Also, we only have to do it once, because when she is educated, she is twice as likely to educate her children and break the cycle of illiteracy and poverty forever. Finally, I want to thank my husband and my children for making my mission their mission and for standing behind me all these years. I want to thank my father, who is watching from above, and my mother, who is here today. Nothing can happen without the blessings of our elders. Our deepest gratitude to the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation for this incredible honor. You have energized us and given us a tailwind to help us carry our mission forward in India and beyond. I am Safina Hussain, and I educate girls. Thank you.
The 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Award, Shaahina Ali. Asia's smallest country and located in the Indian Ocean, the Maldives, made up of 26 natural atolls and almost 1,200 coral islands, often appears in tourist brochures and websites as a tropical island paradise, surrounded by aquamarine waters, ideal for snorkeling and fishing.
Its culture is deeply tied to the ocean, and it is home to a people proud to be Maldivian. Not surprisingly, tourism has become the country's leading industry, overtaking fishing and boosting the Maldives' gross national income to upper middle income levels by the late 2010s. Behind this idyllic facade, however, lies a murkier and unpleasant truth. Rapid urbanization has led to ugly consequences. Plastic pollution has defiled the island chain's crystalline waters, threatening the marine ecosystem, the economy, and the health of its residents. The threat exists on both land and sea. This waste is either burned or tossed into the ocean, producing harmful smoke and microplastics that damage and contaminate all forms of life ashore and underwater. As a young girl growing up in the Maldives, Shaahina Ali was fortunate to have witnessed a far more benign and cared-for place to call home. She recalls, "My memories of our beaches are of the finest white sand, full of natural shells, with many treasures for us to play with. As a kid, I remember a fight we had for a plastic bottle find. It was so rare. Garbage or even fabric, tins, and plastic bags were not there. Plastic bags were treasured and reused, as they were not something available even in the shops." Today, those treasures have become an environmental nightmare for Ali's beloved Maldives. The lack of proper waste management has led to tons of waste, particularly plastic, being disposed of haphazardly. As a diver, photojournalist, and diving instructor herself, Ali often came literally face to face with the tides of trash clouding up the once pristine waters of her islands, leaving behind swaths of dead fish and dying corals. In 2015, deciding to fight back, Ali linked up with the NGO Parley for the Oceans to frame a comprehensive program to save the country's waters from pollution and to turn plastic waste into a useful source of livelihood for the people. Today, as Executive Director of Parley Maldives, she oversees the implementation of their signature strategy, known as AIR, A, Avoid, I, Intercept, and R, Redesign Plastics for a Better Environment. Working with volunteers and with local businesses and organizations, Parley undertakes massive cleanups, educational programs, and recycling ventures that have not only caught much of the physical waste, but just as crucially intervened where it matters, in the minds of Maldivians and tourists who now recognize and avoid the problems plastic poses. With Ali, Parley has introduced plastic interception and collection sites in island communities in over 70 schools, leading over 700 collaborative cleanups along affected coastlines. Ali is aware that much more has to be done, both in and out of the water, to ensure a cleaner and safer future for her country. She has worked with the government to address climate change, which to her is nature's way of talking to us. She says, and I quote, "We cannot afford to address just one problem. We've got to take care of everything because everything is connected to the sea." Unquote. She has chosen to see the unusual characteristics of her country as an opportunity for change rather than a hindrance. She recalls, "We are the perfect country to educate and showcase climate change and resilience, as our country is made up of only 1% land and the other 99% is covered by sea." Ali saw crisis where others saw coastline, mounting waste and plastic quietly invading paradise. Quiet and unassuming, she sparked a marine movement rooted in community science, and resolve. With every campaign, cleanup, and policy shift, she proved that protecting nature is not just environmental, especially with rising seas globally, it is existential. Ali said, I go there to clean up with hope, hope that my grandchildren will see whales in the ocean in their lifetime, as I did growing up. It is a vision that drives Ali's optimism and her passion for the seas. Asia's smallest country may yet be the biggest anti-pollution champion.
In electing Shaahina Ali to receive the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Award, the Board of Trustees recognizes her unwavering commitment to protecting the marine ecosystem of the Maldives with passion, vision, and inclusivity, ensuring that her work will be carried on by another generation of Maldivians in search of effective local solutions to global problems.
Shaahina Ali of the Maldives will now deliver her response.
Good evening to the Board of Trustees and the members of the Magsaysay Award Foundation, members of Magsaysay family who I've come to know and appreciate, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and all the young people who are here, and all the Maldivians who are watching. Good evening. Thank you so much for this prestigious award and being recognized for the work we have done and dedicated our lives truly encourages us to continue with even more hope and positivity. I am deeply grateful to be listed among the 356 Magsaysay awardees who continue to do good and make a difference in a world that needs it more now than ever. I have always loved the ocean, and you can see from all the photos that they have somehow found of me. Diving for me has always been my passion. Meeting the incredible life that thrives beneath the surface of the ocean, or just being in the water drifting weightless in the blue is simply magical. You must try it sooner or later. I was happy and content being there, but one dive changed everything for me. In 1998, the Maldives lost over 90% of the reef tops, the first 5 meters, to an El Nino, the first big El Nino that actually I remember. Witnessing this for the first time as it happened did not worry me in the beginning. I was fascinated. The reef tops were like a winter wonderland. It was white and beautiful. A few months after that, the color of the reefs disappeared, the fish disappeared, and then we found out that you hear that it is climate change. It's the climate change that we were talking about in the 90s. We just started talking about climate change and sea level rise. So it was happening, and many of us didn't even realize it, let alone see it. And I didn't understand it, but I realized it was happening. Then I had the opportunity to volunteer with the Marine Research Center of the Maldives as a volunteer diver to collect data with a bunch of marine biologists, scientists, who came to see the status of the reef after the bleaching. Working closely with them, that was actually the turning point in my life. A simple explanation from the science world. A lot of times, science doesn't make sense to us. It has to be explained simply in the terms we understand. A simple explanation made me realize that corals, or rather the tiny polyps, millions of them in one coral, cannot survive even with the small change in ocean temperature or any other change in the oceans. The lesson changed the way I saw the ocean forever, actually. I began to understand how these tiny organisms that created something so complex and beautiful were so fragile and vulnerable and could easily become victims of climate change. And it took a matter of months before our coral reefs degraded, so it was very quick. And then it was going to happen again and more frequently if we don't act on climate mitigation. Our government does everything on global platforms, but locally we don't understand what is happening. So we also need to understand the deep symbiotic connections of the reef to us. The oceans is the life that includes our life as well, gives us the oxygen that we are breathing. How impact on corals from rising ocean temperatures on pollution and other factors could tumble the whole structure that has built the Maldives, that sustains us, and that provide us food in just a few days of something as simple as a few degrees of an ocean temperature current. This was the moment for me. It was the moment that made me very determined to actually focus more in inspiring a generation of young Maldivians who would rise to work together and do everything possible to protect our home, our oceans. We had a number of dive professionals we trained in our dive schools to volunteer with us in taking teachers, students, and communities to see what the reef is and how amazing and beautiful it is. Many for the first time, and once you see that magical world, it becomes easier for us to have a dialogue with them and to make them understand it's a symbiotic connection to our life. And it is so fragile. This award reminds me that every small effort matters. My hope is to inspire more people to connect more deeply with nature, not just through pictures or words, but through real exposure, emotions, and conscious actions. I hope that we can help us live in balance and give other life forms an equal chance to exist. This recognition is not mine alone. It belongs to the communities that I work with, my amazing team in Pale, Maldives, who tirelessly works daily, 24/7 almost, in addressing this, to Pale global team, who is always there for us, and for the Maldives, the government of Maldives, who help us and work with us. To all individuals who truly believe in our work we do, to all the NGOs and collaborators who support us in many ways than one, and to my friends who have joined and participated in my beliefs even if it was inconvenient. To get rid of a plastic water bottle was tough for them. So convincing a few not to use plastic water whenever possible was something of a challenge. I will not be who I am without my family, who have always loved, supported, and encouraged me to be me. To my husband and partner, who has given more than 34 years of his life in the Maldives, being my partner and training many outstanding local diving professionals. Thank you. Finally, I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to the Magsaysay team for their kindness and the warm hospitality. My companions and I feel so loved and spoiled at the same time. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Susan. Thank you again for this great honor and believing in the work we do. I dedicate this award actually to all the Maldivians who are right now feeling hopeless about our ocean space, what is happening in our ocean space. We need to stay unwavering in our beliefs and our purpose, picking our battles and moving forward with more conviction than ever. Ocean is our life, for the oceans, and thank you.
The 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Award, Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva. Poverty and the suffering that comes with it are difficult enough. But for billions of people around the world, and certainly millions in the Philippines, being poor has not only meant material privations, but also the loss of pride and dignity, access to justice, social services, and too often, the loss of hope and a sense of being human.
For one Manila-based religious missionary priest of the Societas Verbi Divini, SVD, helping the poor involves much more than providing food, clothing, and shelter. It means recognizing their human dignity, even through such simple means as giving them a bath, a surprisingly restorative and quintessentially Christian gesture. That respect extends to the departed, whose families are too poor to give them a proper burial. Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva, or simply Father Flavi, belongs to that breed of socially committed clergy, for whom godliness is to be found not in the halls of influence and wealth, but in the streets, among the poorest and the most forgotten. Nursing the physically and spiritually afflicted back into the mainstream of society has become his life's work. In 2015, he founded the Arnold Jensen Kalinga Center in Manila to provide dignified care and service to indigent and powerless citizens, serving thousands of marginalized Filipinos. These beneficiaries are people of all ages and backgrounds, including those who have engaged in drugs and petty crimes. He believes they deserve a second chance at leading decent lives, regardless of their past. Kalinga works to recreate the poor's self-image, reclaim their self-respect, and restore their self-worth. In a remarkable twist of fate, their redemption and renewal are Villanueva's own. For he himself was once a self-confessed drug user since age 14, until he turned around in 1995, volunteering as a lay missionary in Bicol. In 1998, he entered a seminary and was ordained a priest in 2006. Today, Villanueva draws on that incredible transformation to prove that even the most wayward and destitute can find redemption and renewal. Villanueva also led the effort to locate the bodies of victims of the government's war on drugs, where thousands of Filipinos were summarily executed. Adding more pain to this injustice was the inability of the dead's impoverished families to secure permanent graves for them. Addressing their plight, Villanueva mobilized resources to provide funds for the exhumation of the bodies for their cremation and interment, and relocation to a proper resting place. Dambana na Pahilum, Shrine of Healing, is the first memorial columbarium in the country for victims of the drug war, where both the living and wounded souls can find respite and healing. Villanueva's Pahilum program has not only brought comfort to widows and orphans, but has also allowed them to continue leading productive lives. I felt a strong affinity with the widows, Villanueva says. They had lost their family's breadwinner and were desperate. The center's Pahilum program welcomed them, providing dignified, holistic care, encompassing emotional and spiritual restoration. Expectedly, Villanueva's prophetic and activist ministry attracted critical attention from authorities. And in 2020, he and 10 other citizens, including another Catholic priest, were accused of sedition, a charge that was dropped in 2023, although the death threats never stopped. These experiences left Villanueva even more resolved to seek justice for the poor. Here again, he emphasizes that justice extends beyond the legal realm. Justice can take many forms, among them, the recovery of one's self-confidence and forgiving oneself. Beyond preaching, Villanueva employed his management skills to undertake a needs analysis of his constituency, and he realized that the poor needed not just food, but dignity. Following the late Pope Francis' example, he initiated showers for the homeless as both a literal and symbolic act of cleansing to prepare them for a fresh start in life. He had them pledge that, as I have been cared for, so shall I care for others with joy, expanding the circle of Christian charity even further. When lives were reduced to statistics, he stepped up with his heart on his sleeve, offering not merely shelter and food to the marginalized, but a sense of worth and human connection long denied. With deep compassion and quiet defiance, he created spaces to rebuild what were unjustly erased by healing the broken, leading home the abandoned, and rekindling hope when it seemed all but lost.
In electing Father Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva to receive the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Award, the Board of Trustees recognizes his lifelong mission to uphold the dignity of the poor and the oppressed, daily proving with unwavering faith that by serving the least of their brethren, all are restored.
Father Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva of the Philippines will now deliver his response.
Good afternoon. Just a while ago, you were clapping. Now you feel sad. I'm overwhelmed. There's not much words to say, so I decided to write it. Let me begin by saying to the Board of Trustees of the Ramon Magsaysay Award, to my fellow awardees, to my dear family, the Lopezes, the Villanuevas, especially to my dear sister who couldn't be here, but to my father and to my mother somewhere up there, to my dear religious family, the SVD, the Divine Word missionaries, along with my inspiration, Cardinal Lambo, nandito po siya, Bishop Soc Villegas, I hope he was able to arrive. To everyone who believes that faith and justice can walk hand in hand. Oh, by the way, there are homeless people. I have two special guests. The homeless, they're here. Hindi nyo mahalata, naka-gel sila ngayon. At magagandang bihes. And sa mga sinasaluduhan ko pong mga nanay, balo, widows and orphans of the extrajudicial killings, they are here. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much. When I first learned of this award, I simply grew quiet, and I realized this honor was never about me, but about the many lives and hands that gave it meaning. The homeless man and woman who asked not for food, but for dignity. The mother who searched for the son taken by violence by the police, his cohorts, under the orders of the past regime of the Duterte administration, and the volunteers who show up each day with open hearts. This honor belongs to you and to them. And so tonight, I receive this award not as a prize, but as a voice for those who are often silenced, for the countless voiceless victims of the war on drugs, at least 80 of whom are here with us today, for the thousands of homeless still wandering in the streets, seeking not only a meal, but a little mercy, those whose caritons have been kicked aside by powers that be and power trippers and crushed under indifference. And I receive it too for the countless defenders of human and environmental rights. Special mention to the night crawlers who are here, Vince Go and Rafael Lerma. Saludo po si Father Flavi sa inyo. They continue to keep speaking the truth even when the truth demands everything. Because when injustice persists, silence wounds the soul. To stop the bleeding, we need to start the healing. To start the healing, we should continue asking the difficult questions. How many were truly killed? Who were the perpetrators and the killers that are still at large? We took a study that are around at least 322 men in uniform. At those in civilian, at least 1,000. Who are the real people responsible of having blood in their hands? How were they killed? Who will continue to begin these studies, this research, this investigation? That is why I strongly propose and support the creation of the EJK Truth Commission. But behind this cries is not anger alone. It is love, wounded yet still alive. Behind this work is a story, one I proudly tell. There was a time when I too was lost, a young man once touched by darkness, until mercy found me. That encounter with mercy changed everything. It restored in me the will to live, the courage to love again. Sige na nga, aminin ko, nagkaroon din po ako ng iba't ibang love life. But I did had some love life in the past. But seriously, a love as a missionary now is a love that is beckoned only by the inner voice within, sparked by the divine words or divine words inspiration. From my own brokenness, I learned that healing is never one-sided. For in redeeming others, I too am redeemed. Out of that grace was born a calling, and from that calling, Arnold Janssen Kalinga Center, where maligo becomes a sacrament, a meal becomes a communion, and every act of care becomes a prayer. We not only clean our bodies, but we also reclaim what was lost, the dignity that was stolen by poverty. The word Kalinga is not a project. It stands for Kain, Aral, Ligo ng Ayos. It means eat, learn, bathe, and to live anew. Take note, the bathe that we have is showers. The eat that we offer is sinandoming rice. And if I ask the homeless people here, What is your most favorite? Very good. Only rice. Simple words that remind us the gospel is not only preached in pulpits, but lived out in basins of water, shared rice, and hearts that are ready to listen. It is here where the poor recreate their self-image, reclaim their self-respect, and restore their self-worth. Through the years, I have walked with the forgotten, the homeless, the addicted, the families left behind by the drug war. I have seen mothers carry grief heavier than the cross, and yet they continue to whisper to me, "Salamat pa rin, Panginoon." I have witnessed how forgiveness can bloom where fear once ruled, and how God hides in those the world refuses to see. Through paghilom, we see how healing begins where justice once failed. Among widows, orphans, and those told that they no longer matter. When mercy embraces their sorrow, it becomes the justice that restores what violence has taken by the very people that was supposed to protect them, from president, the policemen, until the barangay level. There were times when truth became dangerous, when mercy was mistaken for rebellion, and compassion was branded as defiance. But each time, I remembered what I tell our volunteers. Hindi tayo tinawag maging ligtas, tinawag tayo upang maging tapat. We were not called to be safe. We are called to be faithful. And when you walk with the wounded, you let their pain touch your own. But in those wounds, we meet Christ again, not in statues, but in the living, the broken, in the bread. And so I have learned that greatness of spirit is not about power or prestige, but choosing again and again faith over despair, compassion over indifference, truth and courage over fear. And always, as always, and should always be, Christ above all else. Because hope is what the poor have taught me, they have shown me that dignity can rise even from the streets, that kindness is stronger than cruelty, that love, when lived, is the only revolution that lasts. A special image to the young who are here listening in the podcasts, in the Facebooks, or even in the live streams. Una, paumanhin po. At hindi ho namin kayo nabigyan na mas magarang kasalukuyang mundo. My apologies to the young for having failed to give you a better world as it is today. But it is not yet lost. You may not all wear collars or habits, but each of you carries a calling. Look around you. Someone's hunger, someone's grief, someone's silence, the environment crying. That is your altar. You do not need permission to be kind, only the courage to begin. Hindi tayo tinawag upang mamuno, ngunit tinawag tayo upang magbahagi. We are not called to rule, but simply to accompany. And may I propose, if you are looking for something to accompany these people. The names listed here are also the names whom sorry, na-conscious, baliktad po. The names that I also dedicate these awards to, are names that will never appear in the plaques, but they did appear in the news. But in appearing in the news, they appeared judged, maltreated, and even branded as people who fought back, even if it were lies. These are the families of the slain, the poor who still dream, the volunteers who choose compassion over comfort, and my fellow missionaries who believe that the church must carry the scent of its people. And to those who still doubt that goodness can win, look again. Every act of care, every moment of courage is a proof that the light still breaks through. Delixite, I have loved you. These are not just the words from scriptures, they are heartbeats of our vocation. It is love that moves the hand that washes their tired feet, the love that opens the arms that keep embracing the rejected, the hands that picks up a garbage when thrown in the streets and left unattended. And it is also the love that strengthens the hearts that continues to beat because it continues to believe. This is why mercy will always be stronger. The Ramon Magsaysay is not the ending, but ascending. Not a medal to display, but a mission to renew. A call to keep washing the tired feet of our nation, to keep rekindling hope where it is buried, so that by serving the least of our brethren, we all may be restored. And just to end, sama-sama po tayong maglakad sa liwanag. May we all walk with the light, through the light, and for the light. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Before the turn of the millennium, the Ford Foundation, with its objective of advancing human welfare, searched for new ideas for stimulating and enhancing young leaders in their respective locales. A special fund out of the Foundation's endowment was created for this purpose. In Asia, the endowment was granted to an already existing and internationally recognized leadership program, the Ramon Magsaysay Award, widely regarded as Asia's premier and highest honor. The Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation shared a common mission with the Ford Foundation, that of promoting and advancing youth leadership in the region. From this vision, a new award category, the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership, was born. Conferred on women and men aged 40 years old and below, or organizations not existing for more than 10 years, the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership is a recognition of those who have taken on critical challenges in their communities, thus proving that leadership is defined by action and not by age. First given in 2001 to two female leaders, Ong Chontol from Cambodia and Dita Indasari from Indonesia, the Emergent Leadership Award opened new channels of unbridled hope and boundless promise. And now, 25 years later, the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership has been bestowed on 20 individuals and one organization. These dynamic leaders continue to give Asia dynamic and active role models who are reshaping our region and redefining what greatness of spirit is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to share with you 25 years of the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership.
In a musical tribute to 25 years of the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership, we present Ben and Ben.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. We are Ben and Ben, and it's such an honor to be able to be a part of this very, very prestigious night, this very meaningful evening. Tonight, we're going to sing you a song that we especially chose for this occasion, and we dedicate this to all of you, change makers, our leaders, because those who dare to make a change all embarked on a journey of grit, of perseverance, and as Father Flavi said, most of all, courage.
See the world, I wanna see the world through your eyes. I've been so blinded by the painful reality of life. I'm so tired, am I a slave to my anxiety? When will I finally be free? Will I find my release? Hear your voice whispering to me. All your struggles will be worth it in the end. Keep carrying on with courage. Your breakthrough is arriving. Until then, keep carrying on with courage. Keep carrying on, keep carrying. Keep carrying on. Don't be scared. What do you got to lose? Haven't you heard the news? The war's been won for us. Be prepared. The miracles for you are far greater than the trials you've surpassed. Keep going, my friend. Keep going. All your struggles will be worth it in the end. Keep carrying on with courage. Your breakthrough is arriving. Until then, keep carrying on with courage. Keep carrying on, keep carrying on with courage. Keep carrying on, keep carrying on with courage. When the weight of your burdens makes it seem like your world's ending, it's okay to feel overwhelmed, but don't give up, just keep going. Faith can quiet the worst fear. Coldest winters turn into spring. Even darkness must disappear. So don't give up, just keep going. All your struggles will be worth it. In the end, keep carrying on with courage. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you all.
It is my pleasure to introduce this year's guest of honor. When Ananda Galapati returned to Sri Lanka in 1996, at the young age of 21 years old, his homeland was still reeling from years of conflict. Yet, where others saw devastation, he saw the urgent need for healing. A medical anthropologist by calling, he stepped into communities torn by war, helping people confront the unseen wounds of trauma and loss. When the 2004 tsunami struck his country, he once again rose to serve, building systems of psychosocial support that helped thousands recover their strength, dignity, and hope. In 2008, he was elected to receive Asia's premier prize and highest honor, the Ramon Magsaysay Award, for his spirited personal commitment to bring appropriate and effective psychosocial services to survivors of war and natural disaster in Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2008 Ramon Magsaysay Awardee for Emergent Leadership from Sri Lanka, Ananda Galapati.
The members of the Board of Trustees of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, members of the Magsaysay family, my fellow Ramon Magsaysay awardees, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. It is my great honor and great pleasure to be present here today to congratulate the recipients of the Ramon Magsaysay Award in 2025. Through their vital work, Father Flaviano Antonio L. Nuevela, Shaahina Ali, and the Foundation to Educate Girls Globally are responding to some of the greatest challenges that we face today in our families and communities across Asia and also globally. The harms caused by violence and persecution, by systemic exclusion and structural inequality, and by the exploitation and damage to our shared ecosystems and planet at the heart of much of the human suffering that we see in our world today. As a practitioner in the area of mental health and psychosocial support, I've seen only too clearly how distress and suffering at the individual level is caused not only by problems in families and communities, but that it has its roots in much larger issues of bad governance, subversion of the rule of law, unjust economic systems, and a dysfunctional international order. In this era of massive and immediate information flows, it is increasingly apparent to all of us that the problems in our world are complex and interconnected. Watching and hearing the news each day about the things that are going wrong around the world and across our countries can also be very overwhelming at the personal level. And as individuals, we can often feel powerless to do anything to affect these problems, especially given their scale and their complexity, and because many of them feel beyond our influence. I know that I certainly feel that way sometimes. And yet, I know that we cannot afford to be paralyzed or helpless in the face of the challenges that impact the lives around us. I believe that the work of the Ramon Magsaysay awardees offers us a practical inspiration for how we might live and act in a world seemingly full of large and complicated problems. Each of the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay awardees works in a very different context, tackling quite distinct issues. But whether you study their work or the work of the awardees that came before them, you will see that at the heart of what they do is a deep sense of compassion, solidarity, and affinity for the people with whom they work. It is a recognition of shared humanity that underpins their impulse to stand with those who experience suffering, injustice, and inequality. And it is this human connection and the building of deep relationships that informs and sustains their work in the face of daunting challenges, opposition, or even threats. Compassion, solidarity, care, and love. This is what fuels the perseverance, courage, and creativity that the Ramon Magsaysay awardees bring to addressing problems in their own corners of the world. Beyond that, their stories are largely about a lot of hard work, putting one block on top of the other to build and sustain change that is often incremental before it can be transformative. The work of many awardees is often small-scale and local before it can be replicated in other areas or before it grows to transform larger systems. And I think it is these lessons that offer us reassurance and guidance in how each of us might contribute to larger change in the face of profound social problems. In a world with increasing inequality and divides, where the promises of universal human rights, dignity, and development are routinely violated globally and locally, there is a need to renew and redefine the social contracts that citizens have with their governments, with corporates and civil society, with social institutions and their own fellow citizens, and of course, with other inhabitants of our planet, including future generations. The change will not come only from the top, but must be built from every level of society, in every area of human connection and endeavor. And as citizens of Asia and the world, we each have a part to play in this process, each in our own spheres of influence, whether that is our families, our communities, our workplaces, our faith institutions, our government, and public life. And as we strive each to be better citizens, to be better human beings, and to face the collective challenges that lie before us, I believe that we can draw inspiration from the ongoing work of this year's Ramon Magsaysay awardees, whose compassion, courage, and commitment to our shared humanity is an example to us all. For this, I would like to ask you to join me in thanking once again Educate Girls, Shaahina Ali, and Father Flavi for all that they do. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay Awardees. Foundation to Educate Girls Globally of India. Shaahina Ali of the Maldives. And Father Flaviano Antonio L. Villanueva of the Philippines. We request Chairperson Edgar Ochoa and Francisco Magsaysay to please join the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay awardees. Once again, the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay awardees. The 67th Ramon Magsaysay Awards presentation ceremonies are now concluded. Thank you for your presence, and now may we request you to please rise for the exit of colors. May we request everyone to remain standing until after the recessional. All of you are invited to greet the 2025 Ramon Magsaysay awardees around the garden reception at the Metropolitan Theater.